To make incident management more effective and efficient, we have created a functionality to collaborate with your interested parties. We call these interested parties stakeholders. In any account, we can set up stakeholder agreements that allows us to notify stakeholders during an event and collaborate during ongoing events in active logs. If we take a look at the collaboration section in the account settings, we'll see a complete list of all stakeholders in our account on the left side, and we can make changes to the stakeholders by selecting a stakeholder and edit on the right side. To create a new stakeholder agreement, click Invite Stakeholder and fill in the contact information of the person you want to send the agreement to. If you want, you can choose to write down a personal message that will be attached to the invitation. You can also see a preview of the invitation before you send it. A common question many have is it only possible to send out invitations to another customer that uses RAYVN? And the answer is no. You can send out invitations to anyone you want to collaborate with. If the person does not have a RAYVN account, they will receive an offer of having a one-user account that can be used strictly to collaborate with your account. Your stakeholder will receive an email that contains a 5-digit code. When they want to accept the stakeholder agreement, all they need to do is copy that 5-digit code and add it to the sections of the stakeholder tab. All they need to do is copy that 5-digit code and add it to these sections in the stakeholder tab in the account settings. When the stakeholder has accepted the agreement, you'll see a handshake symbol next to the name of the stakeholder. After the stakeholder has accepted the agreement, you'll be able to select the so-called responsible team for your stakeholder agreement. The team you select will be the people that are notified when your stakeholder wants to collaborate with you. It is also the team that will receive notifications from your stakeholder when they want to send you a log entry without starting a stakeholder collaboration during an ongoing log. It's important to note that anyone can share information with your stakeholder after they've accepted the collaboration in a log, but the initial notification that goes out when your stakeholder asks to collaborate during an ongoing event only goes out to the members of the responsible team that you select. If you want, you can create a specific team that handles stakeholder collaborations. Go to Teams, create new team, and call the team Stakeholder Request Team. Put your users that you want in the team, and then add the team as responsible team to your stakeholder. After your stakeholder is set up in the account settings, it is also possible to make changes to the name of your stakeholder, change the responsible team, and add notes if necessary. If the stakeholder agreement is broken, the handshake icon will disappear. This can, for example, happen if your stakeholder has removed the agreement from their account. As well as external stakeholders, you can also set up agreement with internal stakeholders. Internal stakeholder collaboration agreements can only be set up one step down between groups in the hierarchy. That means if your group is a subgroup of one of the subgroups in the hierarchy, you cannot set up internal stakeholder collaboration agreements with the top group in the hierarchy. You can only set up agreements with the group right above yours. However, if you want to set up a stakeholder agreement with the top group in your hierarchy, you can still do so, just by using the external stakeholder method. For now, let's take a look at how to set up internal stakeholder agreements. First, you need access to the account settings. Select the name of your group at the top of the screen. Then, select Edit Group and toggle the Internal Stakeholder switch. Then you need to select the responsible team. The responsible team you select will contain the users that receive notifications when your stakeholders send you a collaboration request. Then, you need to access the group you want to set up a stakeholder collaboration agreement with. Access the subgroup or have an admin in that subgroup toggle the switch on their end. When you've set up the internal stakeholder agreement, you'll see the stakeholder in the section that shows your stakeholder agreements. As you can see, there are separate icons for internal and external stakeholders, where internal stakeholders are marked with a house. When you want to start collaborating with an internal stakeholder during an ongoing log, go to the Stakeholder section on the right side of the screen and click Mobilize Stakeholders. you'll see a complete list of all the external stakeholders in your group, but on the right side you can click the house icon to see all internal stakeholders instead. Select the stakeholder you want and click Mobilize Stakeholders. The stakeholders receiving the notifications will notice that the process looks the same for when they're receiving invitations from external and internal stakeholders. If someone has sent you an invitation to set up a stakeholder agreement, you'll receive an email that contains the name of the person who sent the invitation, the account name, and a 5-digit code. If you already have a RAYVN account, you can copy the 5-digit code and enter it in the stakeholder section in the account settings to accept the agreement. Note that you need access to the account settings to do this. If your user does not have access to this section, we recommend sending the email to a user in your group with an administrative role. If you're receiving an invitation to collaborate during an ongoing incident from your stakeholder, you'll notice a light red banner across the top of your screen. If you click it, you'll get a few different options. You can either decline or accept the invitation. If you want to accept it, you can do so in 3 different ways. You can accept the invitation and start a new log with the same title as your stakeholder. You can accept the invitation and handle the incident from one of your own ongoing logs. Or you can accept it and start a new log based on one of your log templates. Lastly, you can also choose Handle this later if you're not ready to make a decision on how to handle the incoming invite.